What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Bladen Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're going to go over some NFL headlines, and by NFL headlines, we mean Julio Jones to Tampa Bay, and then we're going to rank. I keep saying rank. We're going to predict the AFC West based on the over-unders, and then we're going to finish it out with a Rank It segment via the chalkboard. But before we get into all that, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
Pretty good. I'm pretty good. I've been grinding at Wii Golf recently a lot. And I got a record on one of the courses that got me on the leaderboard like that they put together for that stuff. So
like the all-timer like leaderboard.
Yeah. I'm not that high. It's not that crazy, but it was a pretty good run on just like one of the 3 hole courses. I got 5 under.
Yeah, that's still cool to like get on the leaderboard.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been up to pretty much.
Theo, you're moving out.
Yeah, that's been a kind of a constant theme for the last couple podcasts is me talking about I'm moving out. But yeah, it's let's see if I can show everybody what's going on. There's nothing in this room. All right. Yeah, I feel like a captain going down with the ship right now. Right. It's empty. Everybody's gone. My roommates are gone. It's just me in here rattling around and cleaning up the last few things. And then once I'm done with this podcast, literally I'll be out the door and I'll never come back. So say goodbye to the Joy Division posters. Say goodbye to the MF Doom posters behind me. What else? The Rolling Stones. It's all going to be different now, and nothing will ever be the same.
End of an era.
I don't know. I'm excited to move into the new place though, because I'm able to design it for like the podcast and the content. Like I'll be able to arrange it because I arranged this room. Like I didn't have the TikTok account or anything, and then I just kind of filmed things with what I had in the background. But for the next place, I'll be able to kind of be like, okay, here's going to be my backdrop. Here's going to be, where my lighting is. Like I'll probably be a desk facing towards the window. So I'm like always front lit and not lit from the side like I am in this place. So I guess I could have just rearranged my room like in the last 2 years at any point, but I never got around to doing that.
It's not the most spacious room in the world.
Yeah, I don't want to move my bed around.
Right.
It's tricky, but congrats on the new place. We're excited to see it.
Well, it's nice.
Good luck with moving, dude. I hate moving so much.
It's the toughest part about it is like the last 20%. Because like there was a point where I was like, okay, all the big stuff is gone. I'm almost done. Yep. And then there's all the little stuff that I forgot about. Like, oh, there's just like 16 things on this shelf. Where am I going to put them? Oh, right. Yeah, I got everything done with the bathroom, but like, oh yeah, there's that. It's just like the little things after all the big things. It's not the big things. I don't care, right? Like the mini fridge, the counter, like the TV stand, the TV, like all of that stuff. My keyboard, all of that is like moving that around. It's heavy. It's fine because then it's like all the little things that is just because
like, you have to keep going back and forth
of Windex. Like here, why have I accumulated all of this? But
I think the secret to moving is you do all the little stuff first, right? And you like put them in a bin, and then once you have all the little stuff accumulated, then you get to the big stuff. But
yeah,
if you often use a lot of the little stuff, it's hard to do that. So
one thing about me that I enjoy about myself, this is a character strength of mine, is I'm very decisive and I don't hold on to I love getting rid of shit and throwing it away. I'm like the opposite hoarder. Like there is nothing that has like insane sentimental value to me. It's just gone. All right. Don't need this. Don't need that. Like throwing stuff away, I think makes moving for me pretty easy as opposed to some of my friends who like want to hold on to everything. I'm just like mugs. I had this mug for 3 years. I'm going to like shatter. I don't care if like I'm throwing it away. It makes it move so much easier if I can just like get rid of everything. Like posters that I had on my wall, I just threw some of them away because I was like, oh, I forgot to bring it out in the first trip. And then I just like crumpled it up and threw it away.
I mean, you were talking about literally throwing your mini fridge like off the balcony.
No, I'm not going to do that. Well, I don't know where to put my mini fridge. I don't want a mini fridge because my next place is also not that big and I don't find myself using the mini fridge that often. And I have no room in my car. So I'm going to like that. It needs to go somewhere. So that one has, I have no sentimental value to the mini fridge though.
Just like ding dong ditch somebody with it, like put it in front of their door and knock and just like, dope.
That'd make for a great TikTok.
I could sell it, but I would have to sell it in like the next hour because then I'm leaving, Oh. So maybe I'll send out a
just
tweet
like go up to someone on the street and be like, hey, you want a mini fridge, dog?
But it's like not something I can just like sell to someone or give to somebody, right? It's huge.
Well, you could just leave it in front of the door and like tweet out your address now that you don't live there anymore and be like, whoever wants this mini fridge.
Yeah, 333 East Roosevelt Point, room 320, East Roosevelt Street, 320, Phoenix, Arizona, 85004. I don't care if you know my address because it's not my problem. Next person who lives here,
Yeah, just leave it for the next person. They get a free mini fridge. It's one of the amenities.
Find me if I leave shit in here. They'll find me even more. But anyway, I digress. All right, this is a time where I actually digress, and I'm not just saying it's a filler word. We got to get on with the episode.
Digressing era. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube and join the chalkboard. I do a bad job of reminding everyone to subscribe to the YouTube, but make sure you all subscribe to the YouTube, help grow this podcast, and join the chalkboard so we can interact with you guys. So Julio Jones went to Tampa Bay and joined forces with the evil superpower that is Tom Brady. Matt, as our AFC South monitor, how do you feel?
I mean, I feel good about it for Tampa Bay. I'm not like, maybe people are a little too excited about this because it's like Julio Jones and that's a big name, but like I think he's still a pretty solid receiver. And with Godwin, he's not going to be ready week one. That gives you a little bit more depth, makes you feel a little bit better about it. It's probably I see it as on par with like the Antonio Brown move. You're not going to see like prime Antonio Brown or anything, but like, yeah, man, it's another, if that ends up being your third receiver when you get pretty deep into the season, that's not so bad. I'm not super stunned that it happened. I thought he'd maybe go somewhere where he could get a little bit higher of a workload, but I guess, hey, playing with a really good quarterback, I get it.
Yeah, and I think he can get a high workload if things are, the offense should be pretty similar to what it was last year, right? Arians retired, but Leftwich, is still there, and Bulls stepped up. So, and Tom Brady led the league with 719 pass attempts last year, despite the fact that they're not, a team that's losing all the time and trying to throw their way back into games.
50 billion years old.
They're the pass heaviest team in the league, right? And they're also not a team that relies a lot on play action and like screens and all these kinds of coaching manufactured yards, right? They just are like, especially with Mike Evans, they're just like, go out and win. All right. Like, we're not going to give you a screen. We're not going to give you something quick and easy. So you need a really stacked wide receiving core if you're them. Like the most important thing for them is have guys who can consistently win because it's their entire game plan, right? They lean very, very heavily on it. And with Tom Brady and wide receivers that can reliably win against man coverage, like it's going to be a great offense. So, and if it wasn't for Julio, right? I mean, there's a world where
they'd be in a spot.
Yeah, it'd be Mike Evans, who's obviously great, and then it'd be like Cameron Brate and
like Scotty Miller.
Tyler
because
Johnson.
the loss of Rob Gronkowski was a big concern for me. Like obviously, like losing Antonio Brown was huge, and we were wondering who's going to fill that void. But then, like the loss of Gronk, I'm like, bro, that receiving core is kind of thin. And Tom Brady loved to throw to Gronk. Like I've looked at like the past few like successful teams, like Super Bowl teams, have all like been pretty good with their tight end, or been pretty good about using their tight end, with the exception, I guess, of the Rams. But they had Cooper Kupp, which I guess kind of is the same thing.
Yeah, he's basically a tight end. He's a fullback. Yeah. Someone who can eat against linebackers in the slot. Yep. Like that's what he was doing. Like that doesn't make him a bad player or anything, but
like, yeah,
that's
Cooper
what he was
Kupp,
doing.
Gronk, Kelsey, all the, like, you see a lot of elite
Right.
tight ends in Super Bowl situations recently.
Well, it's just that they lost, like 3. If you're going into the season, you're down 3 out of your 4 top targets. No Antonio Brown, no Chris Godwin, no Gronk. So this is definitely, a pretty solid move for them, but I don't think
I think they're my
You're
Super
like
Bowl
punching
team
the
to come
sky
out of
right
the
now.
they're my Super Bowl team. They're going to come out of the NFC to me. We're talking about the AFC West, and my other Super Bowl team is in there too. So I just want to say, like, from top to bottom, I think that the Bucs still have the strongest team in football once Godwin comes back, whether that be week 1 or week 4, something like that. Who knows? But like once Godwin gets back, I think that wide receiving core is going to be fine. I think that Tom Brady is obviously had an MVP caliber year last year. He would have won it. If he would have won it, I wouldn't have been mad. And the defense is like what they got with Akeem Hicks and Logan Hall, Devin White and Levante David still there. Like I just think top to bottom, they're the best team in the NFC, and betting on Tom Brady to come out of any playoff like situation isn't a bad bet.
Pretty good
so
bet. Yeah,
I think
they almost beat
the
they almost beat the Rams in the playoffs. If it wasn't for that like beautiful throw,
Yeah, that was a crazy comeback. That was a crazy game.
Yeah, that was a great game, right? But like the Bucs easily could have won that game, and then they would have gone on to play the 49ers, who the Rams also beat, and I think the Bucs could have beaten the 49ers last year.
Oh yeah.
So like yeah, there's no reason to think that they couldn't have been there last year and they could be there this year. But before we talk about the AFC West, I would just want to give a quick shout out to our best friends over at Manscaped. You guys asked for it and they listened. Our friends at Manscaped just brought back the Ultra Smooth Package. This is a new product alert from Manscaped. All right. It's time to stop, drop, and order this premium shaving kit. Everyone knows by now, the Lawnmower 4.0. It's the best electric shave for your balls. We get it. But if you're looking for a closer shave, to go bare down there, then the Ultra Smooth Package is the perfect set. It's really time to shave that bush of yours and get right to the root with a discount just for you. So make sure you get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with the code STAYHOT. The Ultra Smooth Package is a specialized groin shaving kit to help you really buff, protect, and smooth your most sensitive areas. I'm talking the Crop Shaver Razor, the Crop Exfoliator, and the Crop Gel. Men, you no longer have to borrow your lady's razor for that precise trim. So make sure you head on over to manscaped.com. Use the code STAYHOT to get 20% off plus free shipping. Again, that's 20% off plus free shipping with the code STAYHOT at manscaped.com. Smooth out your fellas with the relaunched Ultra Smooth Package from the fellas at Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. So, shall we talk about the AFC West? Do we want to do bottom to top, how we've been doing it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. The Raiders. Lines at 8.5. I'm a big fan of the Raiders. I think they're criminally underrated. I actually had a prediction video with FanDuel where I said they would go 12-5. I think this was a playoff team last year. I think the addition of Devontae makes them a legitimate threat to be one of the elite teams this year.
I mean, I see it. They're talented. I can't lie. Yeah, offensively, they've got crazy weapons, and their offensive line was not that bad, and they got that pass rushing duo now. 12 maybe a little steep for me, just off the division that they play in, but it's not impossible.
I mean,
it's going to be a tough division.
That's with them going 2-4 in their division.
With them going 2-4, so you pick them to go like undefeated against every other team.
I think that, bro. They play the Cardinals, which I think they can beat. I think they can beat Tennessee early on. I think they can beat Denver early on. Let's see. They play the Saints, the Texans, the Jaguars, Seahawks. The Rams might be a tough one for them. Patriots, and then Pittsburgh, 49ers. I have them losing that game. So like there's some tough ones in there, but like for the most part, it's not like totally unthinkable.
I've cooled on them a little bit. I'll say that. Like okay. I was high on them after the I think they've got the pieces to to win the Super Bowl. I do. I think like that edge rushing duo of Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. I think that when you look at across, what all Super Bowl teams have in common, it's not so much like a great wide receiver. There was a time, I think it's changed a little bit recently, but through much of the 2010s, the highest paid wide receiver on Super Bowl winning teams was not like super crazy. But edge rushing duo, I think, is important. Quarterback is obviously important. You need to have the great offense, and with Carr throwing to Renfro and Waller and Adams, like should be a pretty high flying attack there. And they should get pressure. They should get pressure with the edge rushing duo. But you say they have a pretty solid offensive line. I might disagree. I think they've got Colton Miller, and then the rest is extremely questionable.
I do like Colton Miller a lot. And I will agree. I think their offensive line maybe overperformed a little bit last year.
Well, I don't even think they performed that well. Like, really? I really don't think that offensive line was like super elite. If I could find,
I just thought that like
the adjusted line
Derek
yards.
Carr wasn't sacked that much.
I guess they were. Let's see. They were 18th in adjusted sack rate, which is slightly below average. 20th in pressure rate, which was slightly below average.
Yeah, but I didn't think they
adjusted line yards. I mean, they weren't a disaster, but they were a slightly below average line last year by most of the metrics that I'm looking at, and didn't make too many additions in that area. And then the secondary is really what scares you. Losing Casey Hayward, like in that division, they got torched twice by the Chiefs last year, in a year where the Chiefs were kind of getting slowed down, by to a bigger extent than they had in the past. And is like that going to happen just 6 times a year this year? I really think it might with them now, and that's kind of turned me off from them. Is like this looking at the secondary. So I don't know. I was really high on them, but like after scouring the roster a little bit more, it's like, yeah, this team has the lowest projection here for a reason. There were a lot of games last year, even though they made the playoffs, where they were a well below average team and kind of overperformed a little bit to sneak in, I think, in kind of a weaker AFC. I don't see it. I don't know. I don't know if they make the playoffs anymore, but we'll see.
I don't know. I think like that offense can really be dangerous. And I think I would trust that offense to carry them a little bit. And we've seen like even the Buccaneers, like through their stretches, haven't been super great with their secondary, right? But their front seven's been so elite that it hasn't really mattered that much. And their offense has been so damn good that it hasn't really mattered. But it's still better than the Raiders secondary. I'll give you that. But I don't know.
How are we all feeling about their over-under? But it's 8.5 is the over-under.
It's 8.5. Like, I'm taking the over. It's like, do you think they're going to have a winning record?
Let's see. Well, first chunk, I like looking at it in quarters. So First chunk of the season, they play the Chargers, the Cardinals, Tennessee, and Denver. All right.
Yeah. I mean, if you just want to go to week 5, because like that's right before the bye week, like I think over that stretch, they're like 3-2.
3-2. Okay. Yeah. I would say 2-3. Chargers, Arizona, Tennessee, Denver, KC.
Who do you have them? Oh, you have them losing to Denver?
I don't have them like losing to anyone or winning to anyone. I just look at that stretch in general and just think like 2-3 over that stretch, maybe
I think they could lose to the Chargers. I think they could but I think like the Cardinals.
I think they could lose all of those games.
Broncos.
I think they could go 0-5.
But I'm like the Cardinals are starting the year without DeAndre Hopkins. I think that's going to be hard for them.
Cardinals. I do.
And I think like Denver might have a bit of an adjustment period with Russell Wilson. I don't know how well that starts off right away.
Then after the bye, it goes Houston, New Orleans, Jacksonville, Indianapolis.
They're winning all of those games. I'm keeping it. I think they win every single one.
You don't think the Saints are even competition with them?
Oh, I mean, it'll be a competitive game. I like the Colts, but I think the Raiders are better. I like Derek Carr more than Matt Ryan. I like the receiving core a lot better.
Yeah, I can see them beating the Colts for sure. But
I can see him winning. I can see him winning all those games, but it being like, of course, they're going to go undefeated in that stretch is way too high on them.
Maybe. Like they could lose to the Saints, but I would pick them to win.
Those are like toss-up matchups to me.
Houston?
Not Houston.
Okay.
But the Colts and the Colts and the Saints are absolutely toss-ups. Those are both very good teams.
Yeah. I'm taking them 4-0 through that stretch.
4-0 through that stretch. I would say like 2-2 or 3-1.
I'd say 3-1.
Okay.
So I'm at 2-3, and then so they could win. I'm at like 4 or 5 games about. Then it's Denver, Seattle, Los Angeles again, and then the Rams.
That's a tough stretch.
That is a tough stretch. I mean, they could be like 1-3 through that stretch pretty easily.
Yeah.
So then they're at like 6 wins in my thing, and then New England, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, KC. I don't know, dude. 12 wins out of that is pretty rough. Like
it's tough, but like also like I'm looking at it from the perspective of like I think they get one on the Chargers just because I thought they played the Chargers really well this year, right? And I think they, if the Chargers got better, both of these teams got better. I can see a world where they can split with the Chargers. The Rams, I don't think the Rams are going to be as good as they were last year, right? I think obviously you still have Ramsey, like Stafford, Aaron Donald, Kupp, like you still have the top guys, but you lost some pieces there, and I worry about the Rams a little bit. So I have them beating the Rams, and I have them beating Seattle. The only game I had them losing in that stretch is Denver, right?
Okay,
because I think Denver at that point like gets it together, and then
take Devontae Adams off the Raiders. Would they have an argument of being better than like any of those teams?
I think Devontae adds like 2 wins. I think they're still a 10-win team without Devontae. I think the offense is still good. Yeah,
I would say, and then they wrap it up with New England, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, KC. Yeah, so which I would say you go like maybe 2-2.
I think I said 2-2. Yeah,
I think that might put me at even the under. Jesus. So
I think their schedule is pretty brutal, dude. If you're getting Rams and 49ers and you got to play in that division, and I look at a team like the Chargers.
It's not an easy schedule, but like if you want to be a good team, you have to beat good teams, and I think they're going to be a good team this year.
Fair. I'm going to say, I don't know. Yeah, they probably will finish last in this division. I wanted to be cool and say they were going to be one of the better teams, but I just can't get, after looking at it more, I just can't stick with that take. I don't truly believe it's coming true the more I think about it. So I don't know.
You don't have the faith in Derek Carr like I do.
I don't have the faith in Derek Carr like you do. And I think that secondary could get torched like they did in those Chiefs games over and over again, especially without Casey Hayward, who kind of overperformed last year. So yeah, we'll see. Josh McDaniels is the new coach there, bringing that kind of Patriots-ness. They'll probably run the football a lot. I think that Tom Brady, that Derek Carr is definitely the best quarterback, that non-Tom Brady quarterback that Josh McDaniels has had. Josh McDaniels has had some really bad offenses when running non-Tom Brady years, and he's also had a couple of good ones. So I don't know. I do think the offense will be good. Like on third down, there's going to be someone open. They've got 2 of the best route runners in the league, and Waller. Yeah, I do think that they'll make a trade at some point this season for a Z wide receiver, someone to stretch the field a little bit with some speed, because they don't really have a wide receiver on the outside opposite Adams. But I would look at them.
They don't, because they don't still have, because they traded or they cut Deshaun Jackson.
Will Fuller, I think like them signing Will Fuller would make a lot of sense to me and really complete that wide receiving core. Like I think that's a chance that I would take, because right now it's like Keelan Cole or Demarcus Robinson, who's like in line for a starting, and it's like
Will
I don't
Fuller
want them
is so
playing,
underrated.
I don't want him
he just doesn't
playing
play
70% of my snaps. But we'll see.
I don't know, but like that's the thing is like, you could say the same thing about like Odell. It's like, Odell doesn't play like a ton, through the past few years, but like he was a critical part in the Rams getting to the Super Bowl. So like,
I'm not saying Will Fuller's not good, but
it would definitely be a risk because of how little he's been available. But like, I think like Odell, it's a risk worth taking because of what he could offer as a Z. So anyway, that's just where I'm at with that.
So you're taking the under, Theo?
That's such a complete heel turn, and I hate changing my mind because I'm always right the original time. I'm always right whenever I change my mind. I've never
just say they'll get 9. Just give them an extra win and give them 9.
I'll say they get 9. Sure, I'll say they're the worst in
Nice.
the division with 9.
Okay. Matt, how are you feeling about the Raiders?
I'll actually
Over
go
or
under.
Okay.
Matt's brave enough to say
Some of those teams that you're telling them to pick against, I don't think they're better at anything other than wide receiver. Like the Chargers, like I think like I was going to team like the Chargers. I think the Chargers got them pretty evenly across the board, outside of maybe receiver.
Yeah, I can.
Then
get
like
behind
if
that.
and even then, I think that it's not like the Chargers have bad receivers or anything. So
No.
I don't know.
They did lead the league in drops though, so
It's because Herbert throws it 5 million.
he throws it way too hard. No, there was a game where like someone asked Keenan Allen, was like, "Does Herbert throw the ball too hard?" He's like, "We got to catch it." And I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, it's Herbert throwing the ball is on a line, on a rope that he does unlock so many throws that like no one else can make. So it's overall a net positive. But I do give the Chargers a little bit of a break with some of these drops because Herbert has one of the strongest arms of all time and just like throws them at him like a million miles an hour.
And he just doesn't hold back ever.
Right, no. But he can throw us some touch sometimes. He's like the best shot thrower in the league. But
he can
there are times where he'll just be
when he's putting it in a window, like he's putting it in a window.
Like, Keenan will be running some slant or something and he'll have to like reach out and catch it like in front of him. And it's going so fast and it just like splits his hands open because it's like it's just impossible. It's tough.
No, I guarantee if they're like working with the jug machine, that shit is turned all the way up.
They better. But anyway.
Especially when it's cold. But next team would be the Broncos. Actually, every team after this is at 10.5. But we'll just go Broncos. Yeah, Broncos are next, and
10.5.
Yeah, 10.5. And it's like, I mean, this is a division where like every team could make the playoffs. Like that's not unthinkable. Like these are
what
all
do you guys
really
think
good teams.
Of Russ? Do you like that's kind of the question? Is like, will he be the Russ we've seen from 2014, 2015? Or is he going to be like the Russ we've seen the past year and a half, who has been a little bit inconsistent? I guess that's kind of the main question that I'm going to pose.
My fear is that the Broncos are going to want to throw the ball a lot. They're going to be like, okay, we have these receivers, we have the quarterback, and they're just going to want to throw the ball a ton. And when we've seen Russell Wilson throw the ball a ton, it usually doesn't go too well. Like he's not bad, but he's not like, a top 5 quarterback like everyone wants him to be, but they also have this like super elite rushing duo. And I'm like, man, if they just ran the ball a lot too, like that would just like negate that problem. Right. So I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely need Pete Carroll definitely ran he got the reputation of being like a really conservative coach who, ran the football too much. But he did run it for a reason, and Russell Wilson on a crazy like let Russ cook year was definitely a little disappointing.
Right. So that's where I'm a little bit scared. Is like if they go with that let Russ cook mentality, it might not go as well as people think it will. But they can run the ball. So like Javonte is so damn good. So like. They can just run the ball, and that'll be like a solution. But I think early on, like they might struggle in a few games. Like I picked them losing to the Raiders in their Week 4 matchup just because I'm like I don't know if they'll have it together quite yet by then. But like they can beat like Jacksonville, like they can beat Houston, they can beat Seattle. I don't know. It's a tough it's a very similar schedule to the Raiders, and I guess it depends on how you feel about Denver's defense because it's not like quite the Denver defense that we're used to in recent years.
Yeah, Matt. I don't know. What are you expecting? I guess from Wilson, from maybe like a touchdown to interception. Like that's a bad ratio.
He's
but,
going to
like,
be inconsistent.
Yeah.
He's always been inconsistent. I think expecting perfect consistency from Wilson is probably a little hopeful thinking. I mean, it's possible, I guess, but the problem is that if they were a team with like a schedule where they just needed to like not blow stupid games, you'd be okay. Baltimore Chiefs, Arizona, Rams, Chiefs, Chargers are their last 6 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's like they're going to have to go out and like beat the top teams. They have to go be like one of the best teams. If they're going to get to 11 wins, they don't have very many gimmies.
Yeah.
So I'm a little dubious of them hitting the over here. It's like the AFC is so talented, someone has to get booted out who maybe should be. And I guess you could say, I mean, how many games did Denver win last year?
They won 7.
Yeah, so I understand the logic is like, well, they won 7 games last year and they added Russell Wilson. How do they not get significantly better? But I don't know, man. They've got a few gimmies, but I think Wilson's inconsistent. Like you talk about Wilson falling off at the end of the year. Okay, well, if he does that this year, they will win like one of their last 6 games. He can't fall off at the end of the year.
It's like they'll beat the Panthers and that'll be it.
Yeah, they'll beat the Panthers and that'll be it. So I just think that, and it's like I don't think that Denver's receivers are like they're good. I don't think they're so like insane. I don't think they're better than the ones in Seattle.
I feel that way about a lot of their team. I think I like the secondary a lot. I think that Justin Simmons has a real chance to be the best safety in the league. I don't think that that's like a bad take if you were to say that. Obviously, over Derwin, like Derwin's up there too, but Justin Simmons is amazing.
Derwin James,
Patrick Surtain is amazing, and a borderline top 10 cornerback already. But like their edge rushing duo, we got Bradley Chubb, who is coming off just an atrocious year. He was suffering injuries, but 0 sacks. I'm looking at 8 pressures in 7 games. That's just terrible. I'm looking at his PFF grade. It's 45. So he was horrific last year.
Jonathan Cooper might have had a higher PFF grade than him.
I'm sure a lot of people did. That's horrible. But anyway, like just looking at
Jonathan Cooper,
he was also one of the worst run defenders in the league. Bradley Chubb was a complete liability.
Don't talk about Jonathan Cooper like that, man.
Jonathan Cooper, nice.
Your classmate?
Lions legend.
He went to high school with us.
Okay. But Bradley Chubb was one of the worst. Like he was horrible last year, an absolute liability. Yeah. So he's going to have to bounce back. And then you got Randy Gregory on the other side. That I'm a little bit dubious of that pass rushing duo being like one of the elite ones in the league. They've got depth. I like Malik Reed a decent amount, but he was also real bad against the run. Jonathan Cooper also not great against the run. It was good that they added DJ Jones though, who is like a pretty incredible run defender, but overall, like this was not a great run defense last year, and I think they could struggle again just a little bit here. So I don't know. And then, if the defense isn't going to be fantastic, it'll come down to the offense. But the offense,
it's a whole lot of pretty solid.
Yeah.
But if your quarterback is playing inconsistently, it's not so great. You're going to go beat the Chiefs.
I'm also not a Jerry Jeudy believer, like a lot of people are. I don't think that he's going to break out like that.
Theo, let me ask you this: do you think this roster is better than the Raiders?
It's close. I think they're going to be close. Well, if I've said the Raiders were at 9, this one might be at 10. Russ is better than Derek Carr. I think that this offensive line might be a hair better. I think that the secondary is very clearly better.
Yeah, the secondary is better. I would take the edge rushing.
Better secondary, better quarterback, better offensive line by a hair. Still a decent wide receiving core and weapons.
Right.
And like the interior of the defensive line is better. I would say that this is probably a better roster than the Raiders overall.
Okay.
Yes, I would. But yeah, still, I worry about the pass rush a little bit. I guess that's where I'm coming from with this. I'm worried about Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory was real good last year, real good, but he's been in the league a long time, and that is the only year where I think he was playing to quite that level. So we'll see. I think I would say they get to like 10 wins, which would
I like 10 for them. I think 10 you'd be like, yeah, that's pretty solid. But once you get to 11, it's like they got to really maybe that secondary lines up well with, their schedule and the teams they play this year. But
yeah, I think they've got a good I think with that secondary and Russ and that skill position group, I think that they don't win this division, but I think they could get second in it. Really, like I feel like I've been talking about them crazy bad. No, let me say some nice things. I think that Russ with Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton is going to work a lot. Judy, I'm a little bit less convinced, but those guys who can win, big-bodied guys who can win deep down the outside, they've got those guys, all right, and they've got one of the better offensive lines that Russ has played with. I think recently they've got 2 great wide receivers. They've got an elite safety and I think an elite corner. I think they could be the second best team in this division. I do. So I do worry a little bit about the pass rush. I do worry a little bit about maybe like some of the offensive line that it's not like elite. I worry a little bit about Hackett as a coach. I don't think that he is like going to be like the next McVay or anything like that. Right. I don't think that he's going to be quite that type of dude, but I think that they're going to hit like 10, 11 wins. And I think they'll be a playoff team, but I don't think they'll win the division.
I think they'll get 10. I think 10.
Yeah, I'll go with under, but
just barely. Just barely. Raiders are still better, I fear. But next up, the Chargers are also at 10.5. And this is your Super Bowl pick, right, Theo?
Yeah, I think they're going to be incredible. I think that they took a year last year, and everyone was high on them last year. They were a lock to be a wild card team, second in the division behind the Chiefs. I think almost everybody had that as the case, and I said they were the most overrated team in football. I hated their defense. I thought they were Derwin and Joey Bosa, and everybody else was bad. I didn't quite think Herbert would take the step that he took. And the defense was so bad that even though Herbert did take the step that he took,
right,
and Rashawn Slater was incredible right away, they still missed the playoffs because their run defense was so bad. But I think with the addition of Austin Johnson, I think his name is the nose, and Sebastian Joseph Day, as opposed to like, who was it? It was Tillery and
you know who it was.
I know who it was Tillery. I'm trying to remember who the other guy was, who was also horrible. But
was
to have
Morgan
Sebastian
Fox
Joseph Day
last
there,
year, or was he?
Who?
No, he was a Panther.
He was a Panther. Okay, I couldn't remember if
Morgan Fox not bad.
No, he's not bad. It was. God, I literally just did a whole video on them, and I can't remember the name of the other defensive tackle that they have. It's like Jones. I don't know. Who cares? He was bad. They've got a better guy now. And then Khalil Mack instead of Nwosu. That's pretty damn strong. I'm a little bit worried about their linebackers still, but Tranquil's...
Who did they added a bunch of other linebackers, didn't they, though? They added, like, maybe not anybody that super inspires confidence, but like Kyle Van Noy's played good football before.
Oh, yeah, I guess they got
Troy Reader's played good football before. Like
he's played okay football before.
So I think...
Yeah.
You can't win them all. Their linebackers are maybe a hair mid.
Justin
as
Jones,
far as inside.
I was thinking of
Justin Jones.
Yeah, but, Kaiser White was nice for them last year. That he lost him. But I just think like if last year their problem was their defense, and this year they've got J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack and a good interior defensive line, and like another year for Asante Samuel Jr. to kind of break out. He was promising last year. With Herbert, who last year led the second best offense in football in drives, in points per drive and yards per drive. Like, I think with that quarterback, you can repeat that second ranked offense. I think you can. I think it's pretty solidly like top 5. Slater is incredible and like probably will be like a Hall of Famer with how good he was his first year. Like I think very highly of him. And the offensive line, obviously the right tackle is still kind of a weak point, but every team's got a weak point.
Big ad.
Zion Johnson's there now. Like I just can't really identify if they're going to have the second ranked offense again, and I think they will, or a top 5 one for sure.
They don't even need to be second ranked if they're just top 5.
Now, how many plus defenders did they add this year?
Right, like Jackson, 5. So I think that their defense was 19th in passing DVOA last year. I think with the addition of a true number 1 corner in Khalil Mack, like that could shoot up into the top 10. And their run defense could shoot from the bottom of the league to league average. Like to me, it's just from top to bottom, just an elite roster. They've got the quarterback on the rookie deal, and they did everything you need to do to surround him with the guys to win. I think they win this division. I think they're the best team, and I think they win the AFC. I think they're the best team in the AFC.
I mean, I can get behind that fully. I mean, I have them winning this division. I'm still deciding between like them, the Bills, and the Ravens for like the 1 seed. But like, no, they're nice. Like
they're nice.
And we're struggling to find weaknesses on this team right now. So, yeah, no, I mean they're going to be good. I'm taking the over pretty easily.
I was gonna joke and say their punter was bad, but I actually particularly like J.K. Scott. Who I remember
they signed J.K. Scott.
That's what I'm seeing. J.K. Scott.
Well, he was he's not a good punter.
Is it? Well, I disagree. In 2014, J.K. Scott had the most unbelievable punting game against Ohio State in the
he's
playoffs.
A good college punter.
He was unbelievable. I mean, it was crazy, and it killed him the whole game. They still won, but. So I believe in J.K. Scott. He's turning it around.
Was that the Bama game? Was that the Bama game?
Yes, dude.
I remember that. That was brutal. We kept getting the ball on like the 7-yard line.
Times that year. Yeah,
it was like ridiculous.
I don't know how like punting doesn't translate to the NFL, but I mean, I guess maybe like
that's being a system punter.
System punter.
It's more of a college punter, really.
You know, Punt God. Arizia or whatever his name is from San Diego State. He was the 3rd punter taken in the draft, right? And I didn't scout him because he's a punter. I just was like, damn, he had a lot of 80-yard.
How do you scout punters?
Well, apparently he just like had no hang time and just punted line drives, which worked in college, but in the NFL it doesn't because like if you give an NFL returner a lot of room, if you don't give the gunners enough time to get down there, like they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And so basically his whole punting style is going to have to be changed. And that's why he was the 3rd punter instead of the 1st, even though he was like setting records. So I guess it doesn't always translate, but I don't know. J.K. Scott was disappointing. So.
Well, the entire Packers special team was disappointing last year, to be entirely fair.
Well, he wasn't even the punter last year. He was the punter 2 years ago when they were also phenomenally it was Bojorquez was the punter last year who was like couldn't hold
your special teams almost cost you a game against Chicago.
Oh yeah. I mean, the special teams was it's been a joke for like years. It's crazy how bad it is. Like that 49ers game, for it to end with like that was on the national stage, with it to end with the blocked field goal and them getting like long kickoff returns every time, and the blocked punt touchdown that was their only touchdown of the game. It was like that all year. Like it truly never got figured out and just got worse and worse. And then like for the game winning field goal that they kicked, there was only 10 guys out there. Like I've never seen special teams like that. And it was
I literally remember after the Bears game, I was like, that's going to come back to bite them. They're not good.
Yeah.
Like if they play a good team like that in the playoffs.
And the Bengals, we missed like 5 kicks against the Bengals. They missed like 5 kicks against the
Bengals. Oh yeah, dude, I forgot all about that.
And there were a couple more games and instances where like there would be blocked kicks that like no one remembers because it would be like a game against the Lions or something. But yeah, no, it was horrible. So J.K. Scott was not a solution, sadly. But
Theo digresses.
I digress. It's not about the Packers.
Agree to disagree.
So we're all taking the over on the Chargers?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like the Chargers.
Yeah, they're damn good. All right, so that leaves us with the Chiefs. them, and they're also set at 10.5.
I'm not picking the Chiefs under. I'm just going to be upfront and frank about it. Not doing it.
That's a
You don't worry
that's a
about them at
disaster
all?
waiting to happen.
No.
They have the best quarterback
No, I
in this
do,
division.
but I'm not going to pick their under.
They have the best quarterback in the division. They still have the best tight end maybe in all of football. Outside of like maybe Kittle or like Waller, depending on like how you view it.
They have a great coach. They have a great quarterback. They'll be okay.
They have a great offensive line.
Now, are they going to be as good as they were maybe previous years? Maybe not.
Their secondary scares me. You talk about the Raiders secondary being scary, bro. The Chiefs secondary is not fun to look at. Like,
if they go up against teams and they get into a shootout with them, I think the Chiefs win those shootouts more often than they lose them. I'm not predicting them to be like a perfect team or anything. Like, the defense has always been, a little up and down with them, and losing Tyreek Hill is a big deal. But I actually still like the receivers a decent amount. And, you're not really, even without these ridiculous receivers, Mahomes is still going to go win you and make things happen. Yes. I really think that a great quarterback, great coach combo is something that I don't want to worry about too much. Like, there are a lot of times, like, the Seahawks were always a team that managed to like be a little bit better than maybe they looked on paper. Great quarterback, great coach. So I think I definitely see, like, they're not without problems, but at the end of the day, dude, like,
I mean, we saw like in that Super Bowl when everyone was hurt and Mahomes is like running and he's still making these amazing throws.
Well, that was a particularly weird game against a really good team.
Right,
I actually,
but like Mahomes didn't look particularly awful, right? That's like everyone's worried that like Mahomes is going to be like just going to like not be the same.
I don't know if people are worried about that. I think people are more worried that Tyreek Hill won't be the same. I just feel like, and like the Sky Moore stuff I've seen definitely makes me feel better about their receivers.
Yeah, Sky Moore
and I
good.
like Juju, and Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football, according to me. So I think offensively they're still pretty strong.
I mean, if you say Kittle or Andrews, I'm not going to argue with you, but
I will.
Or Pitts. Pitts, come on, man. Pitts is so fucking good. Yeah.
He is, but
he is so good.
Where did he go to college?
Cincinnati.
Not Cincinnati, man. So.
I thought I could trick you.
No.
Hey, but he went to
Kelce
It's not like he went to Clemson, man. Like, come on.
Well, if he went to Clemson, I don't think he'd
Kelce
be in the
went to
NFL
Cincinnati.
Right now,
I'm
regardless, you're taking the Chiefs under
10.5.
Under 10.5. I am very concerned about what they've lost. I'm concerned about their pass rush, although I did like George Karlaftis, so that's good. But Frank Clark had 4.5 sacks last year. They were at near the bottom of the league in pressure rate. They still got Chris Jones, but those edge rushers were kind of invisible for large portions of last year, and we'll see what Karlaftis can do right away. Although I did really like him, but me really liking a rookie versus me thinking they'll be like a huge positive immediately is like different. Like I got to think you're pretty special, like Pitts, for me to think like you're going to be an immediate impact guy right away, or like Jordan Davis in Philadelphia. I'm expecting big things out of right away, but I don't know. I think the loss of Tyreek Hill just is going to be devastating for them. I really do. I think that I've said it before a million times that I think he's the best wide receiver in the league, and just maybe the only guy where you just simply cannot guard him one-on-one, like with no help in man coverage. Like you just can't do it because losing that rep would be too horrible. And it would just be like, it's a complete disaster and you're probably going to lose it because of his speed. Like you just cannot guard him one-on-one. You can't do it. It would be suicide. So like the fact that you're losing a guy like that, and yes, Juju and Sky Moore and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, it's not a bad group. But I mean, that threat, it's crazy. It would be like losing Gronk in his prime for the Patriots, which I guess they did a lot because of injuries and they were still fine. But so maybe I'm being stupid, but I don't know. I think like the loss of him and Tyrann Mathieu might be their best offensive and defensive player. So and there
But
were lots of times.
I don't know. Tyrann Mathieu, I feel like last year was not like as
he
great
would
as
sometimes
he
make
has
some
been.
business decisions, especially in the run game. I think like he would go to just kind of be an ankle biter or kind of ease up, and you'd blame others when he could have done a little bit more. But I think he's going to be a really good player for the Saints next year. I do.
Oh, I mean, I still think he's a good player, but like, who did they replace him with? It was Justin Reed, who I don't think is a bad. So it's like, I don't think that's like a net negative. Right?
Yeah, we'll see, but I don't know. I truly think like they never quite figured out that like drop a bunch of guys into coverage like strategy last year. The Bengals deployed it in the second half, and Patrick Mahomes looked like, Chad Henne out there. I think that offensive.
Did you see the quote of like their philosophy behind?
No.
There was like a quote of like, I don't know where I saw, but there was something about like, if Patrick, or I don't know if it was like directly from the Chiefs, but there was like, it was either directly from the Chiefs or like an analyst that was close to the Chiefs, where it was like, if number 10 isn't on the field, you like as a quarterback, you're no longer like enticed to always look at that, right? To like always try and look at that deep option. So when teams drop a lot of guys in coverage, you're all of a sudden like, right, your second option now takes longer to get to because you're always looking at number 10. You're always looking at Tyreek Hill, right? But now, right, you're
willing to stick with the first read a little bit longer if it's Tyreek Hill because it's Tyreek Hill. he might win a little bit later. He might win a little bit later. Just got to wait a couple seconds. And now it's going to be like Juju, and it's like if Juju doesn't win in a second,
but it's like even Kelsey, right? Because Kelsey's routes aren't like these long routes all the time. So it's like you're not going to be stuck on Kelsey, for half the play, right? You're gonna.
I just realized that I called Tyrann Mathieu the Chiefs' best defensive player. It's Chris Jones. My fault.
It is Chris. Did you call him his best defensive player? I don't know.
I said they lost maybe their best defensive and offensive player, and that's just not true.
But no, Chris Jones is him.
Yeah, my fault.
But yeah, no, it's like maybe Mahomes gets through his reads a little bit quicker. So like, and whether or not you think that's like a difference maker in their offense against like those drop coverages could depend on how you feel about that offense entirely. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I also think they have a brutally tough schedule. I think it's the hardest in the league, if I had to guess. So I don't know. I think that there's going to be some adjustment periods. I don't think that the defense is going to be. I like their linebacking core. I'll say that.
You're a Bolton fan, right?
We'll see.
Their schedule is insane.
Yeah.
Oh, they play Buffalo and
yeah, they don't give many breaks.
This is tough. Yeah.
I don't know. It's the hardest in the league. So I'm going under. I think that highly of Tyreek Hill, that their offense is going to lose a dimension. And on top of that, with the toughest schedule in the league, they won 12 games last year. They struggled against certain coverages, and I don't know if that gets better without Tyreek Hill. Maybe it does if Mahomes just becomes some guy who can just kind of become a little bit more methodical. I think that he's the best quarterback in the league, and he's going to carry them to a winning record and all that. But I think it's going to be more a 10-win team than the juggernaut we've seen in the past. That's where I'm at.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. I think they can still get 11. I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's a tough schedule. It's really hard, but like, I can still pick out 11 or 12 wins here. Just based on like Mahomes is him. He's so damn good. Kelsey is so damn good. Their offensive lines, it's really legit. So like, it's not like Mahomes is going to, be under a ton of pressure. They're going to be able to run the ball when they need to. I trust this offense. I really do. I'm taking the over still.
Yeah, I think that they play a really tough schedule, but at the end of the day, I trust a quarterback, head coach combo. I think they're still one of the teams to beat. I think Tyreek Hill is one of the best receivers in the league, but I I don't think that's going to stop Mahomes from doing his thing.
Yeah.
And while, I think their cornerbacks are pretty weak, I think they're going to get into some shootouts that they're going to lose. I think they're going to win a lot of those too.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be close. The schedule is really what scares me. And I think the schedule is really what scares me. I still think that with a weak schedule, this would be an easily like 12 plus win team. But I just think they've lost a lot, and now they've kind of got to readjust, and they're going to have to do that kind of against just a murderer's row. I mean, have we read it off to people who don't know? It's Cardinals, okay. Then it's Chargers, Colts, Buccaneers, Raiders, Bills, 49ers, Titans, Jaguars, Chargers, Rams, Bengals, Broncos, Texans, Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders. I mean,
it's bad.
I mean, Jackson, you feel pretty good about them beating Jacksonville. You feel pretty good about them beating probably Arizona.
Yeah.
But even Arizona is like not a gimme. You feel pretty good about them beating Seattle. And then outside of that, it's like
on the Colts,
all playoff teams.
Yeah.
It's all playoff teams. So it's gonna, if they get to the end of this year and they're like 11-5 or 12-4 or 11-6, I suppose, and 12-5, like you should expect them to just win the Super Bowl at that point, because like they've already been through it. They've already been through
the gauntlet.
So yeah, I like their draft a lot. Their offensive line is good. Their quarterback is obviously great. Their wide receiving core is still good. Secondary, I raise an eyebrow. The pass rush, I raise a little bit of an eyebrow. The schedule, I raise 2 eyebrows very, very high and open my eyes real wide. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like they'll probably still get them and the Broncos. I feel pretty similarly about like 10-11 wins. I'll probably have the Chargers at like 12-13 and the Raiders at like 8-9. That's kind of where I'm at with this division.
Fair enough. So Theo, are you taking the under officially?
I'll say this division ends Chargers 1, Chiefs 2, Broncos 3, Raiders 4.
I agree.
Okay. I have Chargers 1, and fuck, man. At this rate, like, I might have the Raiders at 2 and Chiefs at 3. And then Denver at 4, I guess. But like, that's so tough.
It's really tough. It's really tough. I'm giving everyone a pass for this division. I think anything can happen. If it could end in any order, and it wouldn't necessarily
like literally
shock me.
Denver could like be ridiculous and win the division. Like their secondary is elite, right? Russell Wilson could end up being phenomenal. Their run game could be the best in the league. Like there's like, yeah, it's a tough division, but I don't know. That's our predictions for it, kind of. But Theo, would you like to give a shout out to our new friends?
Oh, yes. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Odds Trader. For play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking, Odds Trader is the place to go. They have the best price on every game and sign-up offers from multiple sports books. Plus, they have player statistics, key game stats, and even projected game day weather. You can use their bet tracker to keep records of all your games and betting activity. OddsTrader.com is the number one site for all your game day bets. So to begin your handicapping journey, make sure to go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. That's oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader is the beginning of your best bets for all sports. Download it from the App Store today.
/bluewire, not /stay hot.
Not /stay hot. Matt, wait 1 sec. Before we get into the next one, you had a tweet the other day where you talked about your third grade gym teacher telling you that Michael Jordan was better than LeBron.
Yeah.
Did that actually happen?
Yes.
Wait,
I remember very
was that in Gahanna or was that in?
No, this was in South Carolina.
Wow. Okay. That's crazy because
this was
LeBron at that point,
long time ago. I remember it. I don't know why I remember it, but he was like, he's like, so something about, don't tell me about LeBron being better than Jordan. And at the time, this was 2009.
Right.
So granted, this was in my opinion, when LeBron was playing his absolute best, he was having his absolute best season. But I just thought that was funny.
But like, this is like year 6, year 7 LeBron.
Yeah,
like,
he hadn't won a championship yet. He hadn't won
no
a
like,
championship.
what are we
championship.
talking
Yeah, this is
about?
his first MVP. It's like, yeah, dude, I guess. But
Shout out the LeBron fans in 2009 who were pushing LeBron over Jordan
Pushing
narratives to this gym teacher in the 2000s, because that is truly an insane take, I think, in the year 2000. That would be like someone saying that Giannis now is the best player.
Is the
like
GOAT.
that would be like a gym
That's it.
teacher being like, I don't want to hear anything about Giannis being better than Jordan all time. Like, who is making that argument in 2009?
No one.
I expect it, Matt, as a big LeBron fan, that you pushed back against his claims here.
oh well, yes, we got into a heated debate for 20 minutes, and then
Even though
won
you
and he
didn't even
cried and
live in
everyone
Ohio
clapped.
at the time.
Anything for Bron.
Anything for Bron, man.
All right, so that brings us to our rank it segment of sauces. And I just, do we need to classify what a sauce is first? Like,
No.
Maybe. Does guacamole count? No?
I don't know.
Does peanut butter count if it's not a condiment?
Peanut butter is not a sauce.
Peanut butter is
What
not
is
a
it
sauce.
then?
Peanut butter is, it's not
It's
a
a
sauce.
spread, I guess.
Okay,
It's just a spread.
guacamole literally translates to avocado sauce.
All
I think,
right, well, I'm
count it.
I'm okay.
So I think you count it. So are we gonna do what, a top 10 or not top 10, top 5?
All right, here's our top 50 sauces.
Top 50 sauces.
I got like 3 I'm thinking of right now.
Okay.
But I'll
I'm trying to
probably be
think.
convinced to add a few by y'all's list.
I barbecue's number 1 for me.
What?
Sad.
Just like classic original?
Like honey barbecue.
You can't just say any barbecue sauce. That's too vague.
Okay, honey barbecue number 1, classic barbecue number 2. What else is there? Like,
I really don't like barbecue chips. I know that's
Really?
not what we're talking about. But no.
dude just hates barbecue. I don't know. I think barbecue.
I'd take regular chips over barbecue chips.
What's the what is
So you said you're doing a top 10, but we got through 2 and you got
barbecue and barbecue? No, we're not. I'm not doing a top 10. God, like, no, I would do barbecue, honey barbecue, regular barbecue. I think like maybe
How
like,
many times
I'm
have
not
you
a
said
big-
barbecue in the last minute?
barbecue.
dude? Barbecue. Number 3,
Dude,
I'm going with barbecue.
If you don't have any more, it's fine.
I'm trying to
you know?
think like maybe like, okay, is mayo a sauce?
Come on, man. No, mayo is. All right, so you like barbecue sauce.
I love barbecue sauce.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
what else I would. Yeah, just barbecue.
Number 1 is, to me, guacamole, if that's a sauce. Okay,
would
that's
agree.
the best thing
Okay.
to dip things in. Clearly, I love it. I'll put it on anything. Avocado, worth the hype. Just a great
agree.
vegetable, a great sauce. Just
Really
a solid
tasty.
thing all around. That's number 1.
Is avocado a fruit or a vegetable?
I think it might
It could
be a fruit.
It could be
I
a
think it's
fruit.
a
It's,
fruit, 'cause
green,
it's got
so
a
I
big
said
seed,
vegetable.
right?
Sorry, guys. But number 2, I'm going with any kind of like sweet and spicy, like barbecue sauce. I like that a lot, whether that from any kind of brand.
Okay.
Nothing in particular. I would say I've definitely come around to jalapeno ranch recently. I put that on dip my pizza in jalapeno ranch fire. That would probably be number 3.
Oh shit. Underrated. Number 3 for me, Sriracha Ranch. Sriracha Ranch is elite.
Okay.
I don't love ranch, but Sriracha Ranch is
Get
good.
a little bit of spice in the ranch, and it's a little better.
Yes.
Number 4, actually, this might be higher. I'm just going ketchup. All right, sorry guys.
Yeah, it's
Ketchup
it's
on
like-
a burger, on a
Okay.
chicken tender, on fries. Like ketchup to me tastes better than most, and that leaves me with any really anything jalapeno, like any kind of jalapeno sauce or anything like
guy.
that. I'm putting at number 5. I'll say soy sauce though at number 5 for like that really enhances, I think, any kind of Asian, sushi, whatever you want to say. So that's my top 5. Anything sweet and sour, jalapeno ranch, ketchup, soy sauce, and guacamole.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna make some major adjustments. Instead of just barbecue, we're gonna go barbecue sauce, either honey or just like classic barbecue, right? Then at number 2, we're gonna go sriracha ranch. Then we're gonna go sour cream. Then we're gonna go ketchup. And then I think we'll end with guacamole at 5. I don't hate guacamole, but I don't usually get it unless like.
But it's still in your top 5.
If it's on, well, because I'm not like a sauce guy. I'm not a sauce
that is
guy.
true.
So like if it's on something, like I'll eat it, but like I'm not gonna go out of my way to get it.
I'm not a big sour cream fan, but
I think sour cream on like burritos is like a must.
I'll eat it, but I don't think it enhances. But all right,
it's like if you have something like spicy, that is the perfect contrast. Is sour cream? I think
it's good. I'm not a huge fan of it though. It's fine though. Matt, what about you? You've heard our lists.
I actually do have a barbecue sauce as my number 1, but it's like a mustard barbecue sauce. It's Sheely's.
Boo.
If you ever get a chance to get some, it's very, very, very good.
I'll check it out.
Number 2, I'll give you guacamole. That's a good one. Number 3 is honey mustard. That's like my go-to dipping sauce whenever I get nuggets or whatever.
I'm not the world's biggest honey mustard fan, but
I love honey mustard.
I don't like honey mustard.
Mustard's good. I'm pro mustard.
Actually, I just don't like mustard.
Number 4, I've only had this one time, so maybe this is cheating, but I wanted to bring it up. Is the lime avocado sauce that they had at Jack in the Box at one time.
That was really good, wasn't it?
That was really good, dude.
I don't think I've ever had that.
And then number 5 is Sauce Gardner.
Oh, okay.
I
thought of another one that I could add. Does pasta sauce count? Does like meat sauce count on like a spaghetti?
Oh, like a red sauce?
Yeah, because I'd put that up there, but it's not where my mind originally went. But
no.
Okay,
because it's
pasta
a
sauce,
different concept.
Not sauce.
Any salsa is. I've never had a salsa that I'm like, this is disgusting. But I don't have like a specific one that like reaches top 5 to me that I can think of besides like maybe some guac stuff. But
I'm trying to think. People are going to get mad that we didn't say like the cane sauce or like Chick-fil-A.
I didn't say the cane sauce on purpose. It's not that good.
I don't think it's that good either.
It's pretty good.
It's fine. It's just salty, just like the chicken, just like the toast, just like everything but the coleslaw there.
Every special sauce at a restaurant, whether that be at a Big Mac or it's like a variation of Thousand Islands, I think. I always am like, this is just
cane sauce, not cane sauce. Chick-fil-A sauce is pretty good. I'll give them that. Okay. That maybe should have made my list, admittedly.
Well, you can replace Sauce Gardner. Who is
I'll move Sauce Gardner up to 1 and we'll boot honey mustard for Chick-fil-A sauce.
Fair.
All right, that's fair. But I'm trying to think if there's any other special sauces that are like good, but I can't think of anything off the top of. Oh, nah. The cheese sauce to dip your nacho fries from Taco Bell.
I think that's an awful take. I'll be honest with you.
The what?
The cheese sauce from Taco Bell is not a top 5 sauce. Dude, that is like...
It might be a top 5 sauce if you want to like get cancer or something. Like
that stuff
might be a top 5 carcinogen sauce.
It's not. That stuff is like, I mean, it's whatever, but it's a top 5. It's like just like melted faux cheese, right?
Yeah. So we served that shit at the movie theater for like the soft pretzels that I worked at. All right, we froze it and it like was all crusty around the edges when you had to like on the machine.
What about putting butter on your popcorn? Does that count?
That's not sauce.
That's not a sauce. That's just butter.
It's not a sauce.
This is one of those questions that Twitter would take, like, "Ooh, is this a sauce?" But like everybody knows the answer. But some people have to pretend
it's like saying, "Is a hot dog a sandwich?" It's like,
No.
sure, like
No.
technically yes.
No.
But if I asked you for a sandwich and you gave me a hot dog, I would look at you sideways. I'd raise an eyebrow.
Nobody.
If
calls
someone
a
was
hot
like,
dog a
"Oh, come into our
sandwich.
sandwich shop," and all they sold was hot dogs, you'd be like, "Well, that's not
What?
a sandwich shop; it's a hot dog shop."
Yeah,
but
it's
anyway,
a hot dog stand. Yeah,
I'm
this
not.
wasn't.
Getting into this.
I'm not going to say it.
He almost digressed, but he chose not to. But I think that pretty much wraps things up for us. As always, tons of content coming on all platforms. We'll be back. We have a live stream on Tuesday.
I got to remember.
Tuesday. Theo's missed like the past 40 live streams.
Ever since we changed him to Tuesdays, I have been completely thrown off.
So we'll be live on Tuesday, and then we'll have another episode coming out on Friday, and then yeah, you already know Theo's got another all 22, I assume, and Matt, I don't know what video you have coming out, but as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.